What up, everyone? Happy Thursday. Hope y'all having a good week. And this is Kobe, intern at Innovators of Tomorrow Inc. And I wanted to talk a bit about credit and just what that is. There's definitely a lot of technical definitions out there and, you know, ideas and concepts relating to credit that have a lot of numbers and whatnot. But I just want to explain it simply for those who are entering into uh, the acquisition of credit and setting up their bank accounts. I guess this refers to young adults coming into the world and just letting them know what credit actually is because there's a lot of misconceptions. So, in my opinion, just simply stating what credit is that credit is a loan with benefits. It is not magic money. So, you know, people who use credit probably think, yeah, of course, but for most, when they start using credit, this isn't widely known. You know, Sometimes credit is used uncautiously, where you make a payment and you don't see any deduction in your checking account. You think, oh, then I can just keep using it. But using credit is one of those things. It's like a slow moving tidal wave, and the negative consequences, if not paid attention to, will just devour you and it won't stop. So, having credit, you got to be really careful. And when I say it's a loan with benefits, that means that a credit card company, when you're given a credit card, you're given a limit, and usually it's pretty low when you first start out because you're a new user. You haven't shown credibility in that you pay your payments on time, so they're going to limit to how much you can spend. But when you do spend, that money is still charged to you. You got to pay it back. It's just delayed. Whereas with a checking account, when you use your ATM card, that deduction is immediate. It's just taken straight from your bank account. But when using a credit card, it's tacked on to your credit card bill, which you have to pay off every month. And that is a delay. So, say it's the 15th and you make a payment, then at the end of the month, you'll have another month to pay it. There's a little bit of an offset, but that still means you got to pay it off eventually, and the earlier the better. And the thing about credit, unlike using an ATM card, is that an ATM card is neutral. When you use it, money's taken out or money's put back in. It's just simple. But when you're using a credit card, you're either going up with your finances or you're going down. And how does that work? So if you use credit and you're paying and you're using it to buy stuff and you're not making those payments, they're going to hit you with interest. And when you're not making your payments on time, you're going to have to pay more than what you just spent. So because you're paying it late, you have to pay not only the money you use, but you have to pay extra to the credit card company. And then that's an instance of you going down with your finances using credit and not being responsible with it. But if you use credit and you pay on time, you'll actually increase your finances. Now, how does that work? And that's where the rewards comes into play with credit. A lot of credit card companies, they have incentives for you to pay your bills on time. When you pay your bills on time, there's some credit card companies that give you flight miles where you can use that for reduced airfare expenses. Sometimes they give you like a free seat or just cash back. And in a sense, that's where credit is moving you up, where you're spending the same amount of money if you just use your checking card, but because you're paying on time, you're getting extra money because you're showing that you can be trusted with this loan, basically. So with a credit card, you're either going up, you're either making those payments on time and you're getting the rewards, or If you're not making the payments on time, you're going to pay that cost. So, when you get a credit card, know that there's no neutral. You're either going up or you're going down. So, if that's something that can't be handled, it might be good to just stick with checking card. Yeah, you won't get the benefits of using ATM card, but you're avoiding any potential for really falling down with your late payments and all that. So, something to keep in mind with credit, and I wanted to show basically that, if you fall into those times where you are, you know, maybe have some debt and all that, and you're trying to scramble, paying the minimum payment, that is a trick. That's something that the credit card companies, they're omitting information. So say you have a $200 credit card bill, and they say, oh, you only need to pay $25 this month, the minimum payment. And you're like, oh, I'm good. That means I won't have interest, right? I can just pay that and then I'm good. No, the minimum payment, that still adds interest to your bill. So you might think, oh, if I pay the minimum payment, I'm good. I don't have to pay interest. That is wrong. The only way you cannot pay interest is by paying your bill in full every month. So, yeah, that's really something to think about. The transaction doesn't reflect your bank account, but you got to pay it off if you want to avoid interest. But even, you know, not everyone's perfect, so sometimes you might have to go into debt for certain expenses. So when that happens, I just want to show you the power of paying a little more than the minimum payment and how much you can save and how quickly you can eventually pay off your debt, and just how there's an uneven return. What do I mean by that? Let's see, get this lighting right. Alright, so I'll zoom in. We have Dumb Dan. This is just a name. I'm not trying to offend any Dans out there, but just a fun wordplay. But say you have Dumb Dan pays the minimum monthly payment, and you have Smart Sally. Now Dumb Dan, he's paying his monthly payment, minimum monthly payment, which is $200, and in order to pay off his debt, it'll take him 2 years and 8 months with this minimum payment, and he eventually pays an interest of $1,313. Smart Sally, though, she pays twice the minimum payment. That means that she's paying $400 a month, and it'll only take her a year and 2 months to pay off her debt, and she pays an interest of $436. So you can see that even though Sally paid twice the amount Dan paid, she saved more than twice the amount of money, or she saved more than half the money that Dan did. So you expect, oh, she paid twice as much, she'll save half as much as Dan, but she saved even more. She saved over $900. And just to give some context on, what the debt was and all that, that's assuming that that's someone with $5,000 in debt with a 14% APR. So you can see that paying the minimum payment for Dan, he had to pay an extra $1,313 a month. But when Sally paid twice the amount, she only had to pay an extra $400. So she saved over $900 there, and just shows you the power of compounding payments and compound interest in finances. That's a reoccurring theme, that starting early is key, and just being diligent, and to always keep that in mind, that there is hope, when you have if you're in those times where debt occurs, that being diligent and paying a little bit extra, sacrificing a little more, will pay off a lot in the long run. So that's all I want to share today for all the newcomers coming into credit, just to make sure that credit is can be a great thing, but it can also be a curse. You know, you're either moving up with your finances or you're going down. So keep that in mind, and thanks for tuning in, y'all. I'll catch y'all soon.